started. We have a really full house tonight. We're just going to introduce ourselves. I'm Lauren Lavery. I'm one of the occupational therapists here at Tech.
And I'm Gail Peterson-Fry. I'm also an occupational therapist, and I work with a 0 to 3 population.
And I work with the 3 to 5 population. Okay, so we'll start out by, since there are so many parents here, and you guys probably all have very different struggles, because the struggles are very individual with potty training. What we would like for you guys to do is just introduce yourselves to like the 2 to 3 people around you, and just talk about what your biggest challenges have been so far, and just like some specific things that you've really been struggling with, and then we're going to write some of those things up on the board. So just take about 5 minutes, and then I'll write them down. Like, not everybody's like, yeah, you know. It's like cricket. My handwriting. Want me to write? My handwriting obviously not great either. Handwriting's good, yeah, no. Want me to write? Sure. I can write beautifully in cursive, but my other handwriting is,
My printing is not good. Same thing. It's really strange, especially like on there. Like here, it's not. I can do it, but
mine looks like boy handwriting.
Oh, it kills me. My son's handwriting is so atrocious. And he's like, thank you.
I know. I always thought about like the kid with like an awkward grasp, you know, like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How do you
I know. I just am like, I've got to let you do it. I mean, you can read it. No.
No, she knows, like, it's all about her name, and Diaper on. And that's what I know she needs to go, and I take her in there, yeah. All the time. I don't know, I'm like, I'm part of me, and I'm already now, like, yeah, like, at least figure it out, and like, that was my question, it starts to, like, you start to agree, and then like that, yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, he goes behind the couch.
I know, I heard that.
I know, when you squat down, I told you when he was
Because I kind of we have a dark shirt room and like so quiet, but
But I think that's good because then he said, if I was going to try again, I would again, I mean, you have to grab him, I guess, right
Handout, and I can grab, I think there might be a seat here. Gosh, there's so many. Okay, there's a seat here, and I think one right here. So that, how many seats do we need? 2, 3, 4, maybe 4?
Just her
You guys want to be together? Let me grab you a chair. Yeah. I'm sorry. I want to get you an adult-sized chair, though. Thank you. No. Okay, I just want to make sure because I separated you guys. Okay.
like black and white.
Okay, guys. I can tell you guys are super shy. Shy group. All right. Everyone got a chance to air your grievances about your kids? No, I'm just kidding. So Gail is actually going to be our scribe because she has better handwriting. Would anybody like to share a challenge, a particular challenge that they're having at home for us to write up on the board? Okay. Yeah.
She just will hold it for hours on end, and just if like we try to take off the diaper and have her, she'll just hold it, and then the second you turn your head, on the floor. Like she just does not want to go in.
Number 1 and number 2?
No, number 2 she just goes in her diaper. She runs away, hides somewhere, and goes in her diaper. I haven't even tried to touch that yet. I'm even trying to touch number 1 right now.
Yeah. Thank you. And
he's mine.
Oh, he's yours. He's yours. Okay. Anybody on this side of the room would like to share something like a challenge of theirs they're having? Yeah.
Well, for my little one, she has cerebral palsy, so we don't even know if she's capable of controlling herself or where to start or anything like that.
So just knowing like readiness, do we know if we're ready? Okay. Thank you. Okay. Anyone in the back?
We haven't started yet.
Oh, you haven't started? Anybody else? Anyone else up here at the front?
Sorry. We talked a little bit about verbalness and not being able to, if they even know when they're about to go or can communicate that to you so you can kind of get ahead of it. It's always kind of after the fact.
Yeah. So being able to verbally tell you I need to go to the bathroom or
or
communicate it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a common one. Okay. Anyone else?
You won't sit still. I don't think my son is still in toilet.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah. Okay. That's an important one to know. Yeah. And there are ways of expanding that.
Yeah, he just doesn't. He never stops. Well, I guess if I put a TV in front of him.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't really work because then they just kind of lean forward and start wiggling on it.
Don't wiggle. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. That's really good for us to know. All right. So first, since we are here to talk about potty training, you all should know where our potties are, in case you're not familiar. We have adult big people potties just right around the corner here to the right. So if you need to go, you can. So some myths about potty training. This is not an easy process. There's a myth that it's quick and easy to learn. You'll hear parents say, "Oh, I taught my 14-month-old in 3 days." Not true. It's a process, and it takes a while, and every kid kind of has a learning curve, right? So some get it a little more quickly than others. One and done. The idea that, they were potty trained for a week, and now all of a sudden they've slipped back. It's not, just because they got it for that short amount of time does not mean that it's all done and they're ready to go. There's bound to be some setbacks. Another myth is that it's not this hard for everyone. As you can all tell, talking to each other, it is hard for a lot of us. It is not an easy process. I like to always say that, 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds, they're kind of all about that independence and that sense of control. And 2 things that they can absolutely control in this world is what goes in and what comes out. We can't do much about that, right? So it's kind of working with that idea of knowing that this is something that they can control, and we can't force things. The myth that one method fits all. Just like with sleep, there isn't one set method that works for everybody. We really have to look at each individual child and their needs and how we can help them. And then the last myth that no kindergarten until child is toilet trained. That's an accommodation that can be made. So even if they're still working on it, going into kindergarten,
it's something that can be worked around. So.
And going to the potty is tough work. We take it for granted, just like we take feeding for granted. Going to the potty involves a lot of different systems. Your sensory system. You know, the bathroom is an echoey, cold place. The toilet seat is kind of high for some of our kids who might have a little bit of fear of getting up that high. They could look down and that floor seems really far away. And for kids who maybe don't have the best core strength, you know, having their feet dangling off the floor can be really scary for them. They don't feel grounded. And dressing skills are another thing. So we're kind of at this age where we're learning how to manipulate small items, and especially on certain clothing, snaps, zippers, those can all be really tricky to get off. And then a new routine. If they've been peeing and pooping in diapers their whole life, and they may just not even really connect that bathroom with this new role of going into the bathroom to do their business. So understanding that the bathroom is where we go, and that can be hard for a lot of kids, you know, this new role and new expectation that they are expected to learn. And then, of course, and we talked about this with some of our kids, communication is an issue. So understanding what is expected of them. So if we have kids who are having a hard time processing our words, we need to figure out other ways of having them understand what is expected, because there are a lot of steps to going to the bathroom, a lot of steps. And also for the child to learn effective ways to communicate that they have to use the bathroom and that it's time to go to the bathroom. And there are a lot more strategies than just verbal. So there's all kinds of ways that a kiddo can communicate to you that they need to use the bathroom. Do we need more chairs? One more chair? I can help grab chairs.
Okay.
If you want.
Yep. So looking at potty training, not just as like the one and done, like we said, it's a process. It's a process that all kids have to go through. So it begins with getting used to just the idea of a potty and what it is and what it does. And then the next step, and that's where they kind of start to show some of those readiness skills. Then the next step then is the adult guided part of potty training. That's where you guys step in. And then the child-led, so that's them kind of initiating that they need to go, letting you know that they get it, that they need to do this. They still may need help with things, but they're starting to take that initiative. So the first part,
Oh, you're with him. Okay.
getting used to the potty. The big thing with this is we really just want them to start feeling comfortable in the bathroom. Like Lauren said, it can be kind of a scary place when you look at it from a sensory perspective. So just getting used to being in there. Using a lot of just positive language as well when you're going into the bathroom and talking about going to the bathroom. You can do some narration about what's happening in the body. You know, with my own kids, I don't know that I found that super effective for them, but it works for other kids. We kind of did a general talking about how, you know, when we eat, things need to come out. So kind of keeping it really general. And then just letting them just be used to being in there. So going into the bathroom when you need to change their diaper. It's a great first step so that they start to make that association. Tell them what you're doing when you're in there. You know, if they poop in their diaper, you can actually like show them how you put it in the potty and they can help flush. So just keeping it kind of positive and light, no pressure. And letting them watch you. That's a big one. Moms and dads need to have their kids be watching them. Let them come in every time you go to the potty. It feels weird to have an audience, but if it helps them get there, that's one of the things we can do. And sometimes even watching older siblings, because they do want to be like their siblings. It's another way to just show them kind of how this whole thing works. Reading stories about going potty. There's lots of books out there, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of those books. And then just kind of starting to set a routine with them and being really consistent with that routine is going to be key. If you don't, you know, if you're just kind of doing it hit or miss once or twice a week, they're not going to pick that up. They really need everybody to be on board and doing things the same way. So using the same phrases. we all call the different parts of pottying something different, so just be consistent amongst yourselves. And then using things like visuals is really great. We have a little visual schedule for going potty. It's an example, one for girls, one for boys. And it goes step by step as to how that process is going to look. And for a lot of our kids who maybe aren't processing auditory information as well, visuals are huge, huge for them. Other ways you could kind of keep the whole idea of just being in the potty positive is when they're flushing the toilet, talking about what it looks like. It looks like a whirlpool, and you can make a song about the potty. Just remember to just try to keep it really positive and light.
Okay. So I really like this visual because it shows you that no matter where your child is, you can always be working on potty training. So getting used to the bathroom and making it real normal, making those expectations understood, that could take a long time with some of our kids. So, sometimes it's like a couple steps forward, a couple steps backwards, but the next step, once they're understanding what the bathroom is for, how to sit on the potty, then the adult guided potty training is the next step, and that's where you're basically going to set the schedule for them. You're going to be in control of when to go to the potty and helping them get a routine down. Okay, so let's talk about readiness real quick. Okay, and so these are, your child doesn't have to have every single one of these, but the more that they have, the more ready that they are. So we're looking for them to stay physically dry for 2 hours at a time and have regular bowel movements around the same time of the day. And you want to see at least some, you don't have to have your child say, this bothers me, but you can tell when the diaper, when it's soiled, that it bothers them. They might move away, they might hide, they might be a little shy after they've gone to the bathroom, or they might fuss or cry. And then also, readiness not for your child, but for you to be ready is important. This would not be, I would say it's not a good time to start potty training when your mother-in-law's in town, if she's not a helpful mother-in-law, or, if there's something big happening, any life stressors, a new baby, a move, any of that stuff. Just wait until you're ready to. And then also, your child does need to be willing to sit on the potty, even if it's for a short period of time. And there are ways to expand that. But just sitting on the potty, and even if nothing happens because it's like 3 seconds, reward. Oh, good job sitting on the potty. And then you can even do strategies like singing a special song or playing a special video to expand that time that they're able to sit on the potty. And you just take baby steps. They do need to be willing to stay because you really, like Gail was saying, they have control over what comes in and what goes out, and you don't want to make it a traumatic experience. You want to keep it fun and keep it light and make sure that your child sees that potty as a good, fun place where they get rewarded with their very favorite things, and they like being there.
So looking at equipment options. So their little butts are tiny, and that toilet seat's really big, and that whole feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall in, can be really unnerving for kids. So there's some more obvious things. Looking at the little tiny potties that all of you guys have seen, the little portable ones. Those are nice in that they're low to the ground, so it kind of helps them feel a little more secure. Their feet can be planted on the ground. And it's also really nice you can take it anywhere. You could put it anywhere in the house. Because sometimes kids might not even be willing to go in the bathroom. That might just be too scary. So starting outside the bathroom and then working your way in. There's also the inserts that you can put on your actual toilet seats, and those work really well. But again, consider where their feet are. Are they dangling? Is that going to make them a little uncomfortable? For kiddos that have more motor challenges, there is special equipment that we can look at using to help them be as upright and stable as possible and feel comfortable. So the other thing to kind of think about also is, we get a lot of questions with the boys, should they be standing to go to the bathroom? I think it's great for them to see dads going, standing, but it's also just posturally, it's easier to start with the sitting on the toilet, because that's where they're also going to need to be pooping, so they've kind of got this position that's going to be more familiar for them. So I have really found, just personally with my kids, that starting with sitting worked a lot better, and then kind of transitioning to standing. If, though, you feel like making double transitions is going to be really hard for your kiddo, then you may want to start with standing. So, yeah. Any questions with that? Yes?
Sometimes I feel like my daughter prefers to stand to pee than she does to sit to pee. Like, I just noticed that. Like, anytime you notice that too, right?
Well, yeah, whenever, every night, no matter what, as soon as I put her in the bathtub, she stands up and pees in the bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I try to put her, I know she needs to pee, so I try to put her on the toilet right before she goes to the bathtub, whatever, she'll hold it.
Forever.
As soon as those feet hit the water, she stands up.
Boom.
So water is triggering. It triggers us, and that's why a lot of kids end up going to the bathroom while they're in the bathtub. That kind of idea and lots of kids do this. I mean, that's definitely common, and I hear that all the time. So I think it's great that you start with having her sit on the potty, and you can end that way too. I don't know what you think about this, but I wonder if even just like sitting her on the toilet and putting her feet like in a little tub of water.
I've tried to her to play with water while she was sitting on it. I've turned on the bathtub while she's sitting on it, but I haven't tried.
Or fill the tub up like 2 inches, put the potty seat in the tub, put her feet in there, and then, dump it out. She can watch her dump it in the toilet and flush and everything.
She likes that. She loves watching it go in the toilet.
Yeah.
She loves watching the toilet.
Yeah.
That's good.
Any other questions before we move forward? Okay, so with the adult guided training, really the big thing you're going for is you want to get a schedule established, and you really want to establish that schedule based on your child's potty habits. So if you are a data-oriented person, taking some data on what time of day they tend to pee, what time of day they tend to poop, and then you will start seeing a pattern. And again, that's kind of part of potty readiness is there a pattern? And most likely you'll find that there's a pattern, and then that's when you know, okay, they're always peeing around 9:30, I'm going to take them to the bathroom around 9. And then also it can be helpful to track this kind of stuff, because if they're, if you see any irregularities, it might be a time to go to your pediatrician, like if they might be constipated, and that can be, something that you need to talk to your doctor about. Let's see. So yeah, your overall purpose, you want to build the routine, and so tips to kind of keep you on track too. You can set timers for yourself, and then your child is also hearing the timers, and that's our time to go to the bathroom. And what's nice about timers is it's kind of like hard to argue with them, right? Like, it's not me, it's the timer. The timer went off, so that means we got to go to the bathroom. We'll just go, you wouldn't want to use the phrase, we have to go to the bathroom, because that might be negative, but it's time to go to the bathroom, and it's time to play with whatever special toy you're going to give them while they're in there. Timers are good. Visual schedules like these, or any kind of visual cue. Like, I've seen people hand their child a little roll of toilet paper, and then they take it to the bathroom. They see that cue and they take it to the bathroom, or even that special toy, they take that to the bathroom. Social stories are fun. Basically what those look like are they're really simple, child-friendly language. I go to the bathroom, I sit, I pull my pants down, I sit, I go pee-pee in the potty, I pull my pants up, so it tells them exactly what to do. And then also books are really good. Videos could be a little challenging to find those, but we were just talking about this before the presentation.
Yeah, most libraries should have them, though. Yeah.
And then also having fun activities that are only allowed when they're on the potty. So this is where, your ability to really know your child and what makes them tick, and what you really want to know with that is, what they really like, and make sure they only have access to that when they're going to the bathroom, that special toy, so that they get those positive memories associated with the bathroom. And then also with rewards, the one thing to keep in mind is you want to give them immediately. So if you're working just on sitting on the toilet and maybe like your kiddo is really far from even peeing in the toilet, just sitting, that reward is given as soon as they sit for however long you want them to. Great job, give them that reward. And then when you're working on actually voiding in the toilet, as soon as they void, great job. And then, yeah, any kind of like first then visuals where they see first, picture of the potty, and then they see a picture of their favorite toy, just some of those visuals of, oh, first I have to do this, and then I get my toy or my reward.
So it's really important to make sure, though, that whatever you're kind of choosing to use as their motivator, is that you do keep it specifically to that potty time, because if they get to have it at other times, it kind of blows the whole thing out of the water. So it really needs to be something that they only get there. So I've had parents do, a certain bubble, like a bubble machine, or they only get a certain story that they really love, or something on the iPad to watch, but it's only when they're in the bathroom. So kind of knowing what your child really likes and what would motivate them.
Thinking about your specific kids, do you guys have in mind like a motivator for what? Does anybody want to share what that might be? It could be something super strange.
Worst parents in the world, tablet?
No, that's no. It's okay. I mean, for something like this, for potty training, it's tough work. So yeah, this is the time to. Yeah. Anyone else want to share? Candy's okay. Yeah. M&M's are great. You bust out the big guns. This is potty training. Okay. So when you're first starting, you want to pick a time where you have at least a couple days free, where you can just focus on potty training. So don't do it on a work night. If you're a teacher or something, like over spring break, that's great. You want to give them lots of liquids so that you can kind of, the more liquids they have, the more opportunities they'll have to be successful. Lots of praise, obviously, for, any successes that they have. Just, wow, even if they don't actually void in the toilet, just, wow, I love how you flush that toilet, and good job sitting, and good job pulling your pants down. Minimizing other distractions is always important for our kids. If you have a real noisy fan or something, you might want to turn that off. Bare buns time. This is a really good way to get that connection between what's happening with their body and just that concept, because some kids don't get it until they actually see the pee come out or the poop come out. So, and also it's one less thing you have to do, like if they are showing signs that they have to go, right, like the wiggling. You take them to the bathroom and it's one less thing that they have to do. They don't have to pull their pants down. They're already naked. So summer's a good time to work on this. And even just telling your kids, they might ask where they might be a little upset about not having diapers. If they're kind of attached to them, just, I had one family say, we just told them we ran out, and like the store didn't have them anymore, and that worked. The kiddo was like, oh, okay.
Okay, so the I don't want to say the last step, but kind of working towards this final step is the child-led potty training. And remember that, again, you could be in that adult-guided potty training portion for months. I mean, don't expect that that's just going to be done in a week or two. You could be there for a while. And so, you might go to that adult-guided portion and find that you're having setbacks. Take a step back. Go back to just getting used to that potty again. And same with maybe the adult-guided's going really well, but the child-led isn't. So then, again, take that step back. Go to where it was positive and successful before trying to move on again. And give yourself time. So with the child-led, so the big goal here is supporting their independence with going potty. So this is where they might be telling you that they need to go. They feel something in their diaper, whether it's verbal or nonverbal. They're kind of letting you know something's uncomfortable. They're still going to need your help, most likely, with managing that clothing and those sorts of things, and cleaning themselves. But they're starting to show that interest that they want to sit on the potty. They're still going to need reminders at this point. It's still not going to be like, oh, I feel it, I'm just going to go. You might need to ask, do you need to go potty? And then kind of understanding that that pattern can be really different. So, you know, try not to think of, if you have to take that step back, try not to think of it as regression so much. Just understanding that developmentally kids sometimes have to take a little pause in a certain area of development because they're working on something else. So thinking back to like the whole idea of walking and talking. That talking doesn't really happen until the walking stuff happens. It builds on each other, and sometimes they're really focused on developing certain skills, so sometimes you might see that potty training slide back a little bit. At this point, too, you also want to start thinking about going potty in different environments. They may be starting to get comfortable going potty at home, but the thought of going potty somewhere else could be really overwhelming. So that's just something to kind of start thinking about how you want to tackle that. And then one thing that we had kind of just talked about, developing, for a child to develop that sense of internal sensation of what it feels like to need to go potty, sometimes they're still working on that. Sometimes their bodies are just not quite there. And typically boys are a little bit slower in that physically, developmentally than girls. They tend to just, their bladders are actually ready to hold urine a little bit longer. So definitely we tend to see girls pick up potty training typically a little bit sooner than boys. So the idea of that timer, again, they're still, you know, they might be sitting there and not doing much, but if you have that timer, they'll set it for a minute, and then if, you know, nothing happens, okay, you know, we're done. So they're still being independent in some ways. You're still kind of giving them that control. So just kind of, I like the idea of anything visual for kids, for timers. So there's like apps you can get with different things. You know, you can do the little sand timers, just something for them to be able to look at and know when that time is done. Because having that end time can sometimes be just comforting enough for kids to know I'm not going to be stuck on here for 2 hours.
Yeah, there's a free app, I believe it's called Countdown, and it's like a circle, and then I think it's all red, and you can set it for however long you want. So if you're just working on like 30 seconds sitting or 1 minute, and then it'll kind of slowly go around, and then when it's gone all the way to the time that you set it for, a little picture pops up. And so it's very visual, and it kind of gives kids a sense of time. Like, yeah, I'm not, especially with autism spectrum disorder, some of those kids have a really hard time understanding that what's happening now is not going to happen forever.
This is always the hardest part. So this is when kind of that idea of the data is really important that Lauren was talking about, kind of knowing when your child tends to go. Number 2 is important. Having them not in their diaper at this time is also really nice because they're going to feel it more. That's kind of the hard part with diapers and pull-ups, is that they aren't necessarily going to feel when they go potty, so it might not be uncomfortable for them. Whereas if you actually just put them in big kid underwear, they're going to feel that a little bit more. It's going to be a little less comfortable. And so some of the things, you can see on the slide, some ideas are actually cutting a hole in your diaper and then having the child sit on the potty. I personally did that with my son, and it helped actually quite a bit. Just the security of having that diaper or that pull-up on just made him feel a little bit better. And so that was one trick that, you know, it didn't make him all of a sudden magically potty trained, but it helped us in the process. Having him empty their poop into the toilet, this can be good, it can be bad. It sort of depends on your kid. For a lot of kids, it's not a bad thing so that they can see where the poop is going, they can flush it down and have that be part of the process. My son, who's probably be mortified that I'm even talking about this, he's 16 now, so we've had lots of time. But, you know, he even, like, to this day will tell me, that was kind of, like, stressing me out, Mom. You know, I was 3, and you're making me, like, throw my poop in the potty. And so, I mean, it can backfire a little, too, so just, you know, kind of think about it. But it is a strategy that's worked for a lot of families. Some kids learn really well from stories, so that social story about what's happening. Just and I don't want to get into the books too much because we are going to talk, but my kids' favorite book, hands down, was Everyone Poops, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard, but it's just funny, it's entertaining. They loved it, and it was just a great way to make potty training positive. So then, for some kids too, it's going to even be about just trying to get them into the bathroom when they need to go potty. And so, you know, for some kiddos, we have a teacher who kind of worked on desensitizing a kiddo by putting tape on the floor, like this is where we stand, and just kind of slowly moving that tape in each day to get them where they needed to go. And again, having that toy while they're in there. And then thinking about potty in the community. So it's, that's a hard one, and it's hard to make that leap for some kids. So if you know you're going to be in the community and you're working on this, take those things that you have from home that you use. Take those visuals with you. So it's something familiar that they know. Take that special toy that you use so that they have those things. So it's a little less transition, a little less change for them. And also, I know for us, when we were in the process of potty training, we took our little potty chair, the little kid ones, with us when we went places. So if we went to the park, we'd have it in the back of our minivan, and you know, I'd have them try to go potty before we went out to play, and then sometimes they'd be out there and, you know, suddenly realize, oh, I have to go potty, so we could quickly run back to the van and go. Much better than like a porta potty or something really scary like that. So, you know, kind of thinking about different things that you can do to help make that transition into community. Oh, and then visiting potties in stores. My daughter was infamous for it. She, like, every time we went to stores, she wanted to go to the bathroom. I don't know if she really had to go, but there was something about, and I think it just comforted her to know where it was, what it looked like, what it sounded like. So we would go visit the potty in every single store or restaurant we ever went to.
Okay, so just fun tips to make it more fun, you know, for little boys if they are standing or if they can see. Aiming at Cheerios or small squares of tissue paper, pointing out that their pee makes bubbles, or even that their poop makes a sound when it goes in. Using a potty only, let's listen for this, whatever, plop. Making up a potty song. Some kids respond really well to music and songs, and what's great about making up your own potty song is that you can add verses and make it last as long as you need to until they're done. Another really motivating factor is having kids pick out their own underwear with their favorite characters on them. And obviously rewards. Some kids can handle kind of delayed gratification or maybe like a star chart, but a lot of our kids at this age, it's I think developmentally appropriate to give them something really exciting immediately after. Yeah. Any other fun ideas? I just thought of one while I was looking at this, like cutting out their favorite cartoon characters, like little pieces of paper, like small, and putting them in the toilet. Just don't want to clog your toilet. Maybe one or two, one at a time. If they're obsessed with a certain cartoon. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we talked a little bit about how books can be really good for especially that very first stage of potty training where you're getting the kids used to the idea of going in the bathroom and using the toilet, but really all throughout potty training, these books are really helpful. So these are just some of our favorites, and every library should have potty kits available to check out. We have a potty kit in Spanish here. Our English potty kits disappeared last year.
But they have the same books in them. So there's different ones. This one's Diapers Are Not Forever. So it keeps it kind of nice and simple and just talks about when you get bigger, you can go potty. And again, keeping it super duper positive. This is a toddler potty book. Again, same idea. This one, the battery isn't working, but this is one where if you push the button, it'll like make a flushing sound. So great for our kids who maybe auditorily don't love the sound of flushing. This one also has parent guides in it as well. And then video that you can watch with your kiddos as well. There's lots of different videos out there.
With books, I would just add, sometimes our kids who are really active and they like to crawl around, or they just may not appear to be listening to books. A lot of times they are listening, and just that repetition of reading the book, even if they're not always completely engaged, a lot of times they are listening, and so just giving them that repetition of reading those books anyway, and just not assuming that they're not listening because they're not looking at every single page. And, yeah, it's good for them too. Okay.
So we kind of talked about this a little bit. You feel like you've tried everything under the sun and your child still isn't going potty. So again, kind of taking it back a step. Trying to get it positive and try to keep the same routine. And like I said, it could take forever. Kind of thinking back to my kids, so I have twins, so I was potty training too at the same time. And it was very different for each of them. Very, very different. My daughter picked it up fairly quickly. It wasn't too much of a struggle for her. My son was a nightmare. It took a long time for him. And there's every kid is different, and every kid kind of is on their schedule. But the big thing was I continued to keep it fun. I, made sure that the routine was the same. So every day after lunch, after every meal, we would go to the potty and sit on the potty and sing our song and do whatever. Whether they went to the potty or not, they kind of started to get used to that, having that routine, and it made it more comfortable for them. And certainly, I also did some of the, flush them full of liquids and give them lots to drink. And about 20 to 30 minutes later is about where your bladder is going to be ready. So that was a good time to then try to go sit on the potty. So, keep showing them what it's like to go on the potty. Keep talking about it. And it's unfortunately, it can be a tough process and a long process, but you just got to kind of keep patient and keep at it. And just because a strategy maybe didn't work 2 or 3 months ago, it doesn't mean it's not going to work now. Your child's constantly changing, so go back to some of those strategies and try them again.
And just keeping in mind the bladder, this was on a previous slide, but I don't think I said it, the bladder typically empties about 4 to 8 times a day, so that's about as many times as you would expect to have to take them, and so more if you're pushing the liquids.
Yeah.
Okay, so my child's capable but refuses to go on the potty, so this first challenge that we wrote up here, this might be you guys. So like Gail was saying, kids really at this stage in their development are all about control. They control what comes in, they control what goes out. So that's one of your things that you can keep in mind is how can I give my child more control? So we can talk about that. And then also you want to look at the rewards that you're giving. Are they burning out on whatever cool toy? I mean, some kids burn out really fast, and then some kids take a little bit longer. So just making sure that whatever you're giving them, like whatever little object they get to hold or whatever reward is super exciting for them, and only accessible when they're actually going to the bathroom. And then so with the control piece, you can tell them, hey, you're in control of your pee and poop. Like it's not my body, it's your body. You can, like I said, have them pick out their underwear, and you can have them be in charge of putting their wet underwear in the hamper and putting on their dry ones, so you're giving them control over dressing themselves. You will have to help them if they've gone number 2. And sometimes kids just, if they want that independence, just see what happens if you back off a little and don't remind them, and see if they will come to you and just, kind of pull your arm toward the bathroom if they're nonverbal, or kind of like they might even just approaching you and then kind of doing the dance or kind of pulling at themselves. That is communication. And then, I see that you look like you maybe need to go to the potty. Let's go. And then also sometimes kids, when they're asserting their independence. They don't want to listen to mom or dad, but peer modeling continues to be really, really effective. So maybe mom or dad can't tell the child what to do, but seeing a big sister or a cousin that they're really close with. A lot of big siblings, depending on their age, are very willing to help with this and, show them how to be a big boy or a big girl on the potty.
And other ways to, also help your child feel in control, but you're kind of still getting what you want, is choice making. Huge. Do you want to go in the upstairs potty or the downstairs potty? Do you want to sit for 1 minute or 2 minutes? So kind of you're still getting what you want, but you're letting them choose. And just that feeling that they are a little bit more in control might be what you need to just kind of get them going.
So sorry,
That's okay.
my daughter has ASD, and so sometimes we feel like her receptive language isn't really totally there. But she gets the concept. She'll say, "Put diaper on," which makes me think that she needs to go to the bathroom. But then if I go, "Are you going to go to pee in the potty, or do you want to," she'll just say, "Yeah."
Okay. So maybe that's where we start taking out more of those visuals as well. So we're not just doing the verbal. So maybe you have a picture of the big potty and say the little potty. Which one? And have her help pick that way.
Okay.
Might be a way to do it.
And I also think it's a control issue too. So that's where I'm.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't know
Because
if
how?
take a step back. She's about 3.5.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Control's big.
If she's saying put on diaper, that could be the words that she can access for I need to go to the potty. So you could say, "Oh, it sounds like you need to go to the potty. Let's go. Come on." That could be just helping, giving
enough,
her
yeah.
the words that she might be meaning to tell you, "Hey, time to go."
But then she'll end up just peeing on the floor. She'd rather do that than sit on the potty. That's what I've noticed.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm
No, that's okay.
No.
It's really common.
Do you guys have a potty chair?
We have both a small potty and a potty on the toilet. Both. I have both. I have a basket full of toys. I I think I just need to take a step back.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Just
Yeah.
slow down, I guess.
Slow down. Yeah. Okay, so now we have some real life stories from previous families who we've worked with. So the first one is from Austin, Jamie Lynn, and Andrew. They said, "I would never have believed it would take so long to potty train my son. From the time he was diagnosed with autism at age 4, it took a full 10 months to get him into underwear all day, and we needed every single step to happen. By breaking down the process of going potty into each part and rewarding with Legos, since candy was not a motivation, we slowly but surely got him to sit on the toilet. Then worked on him pulling pants down and up, flushing, being dry, and finally wearing underwear. Our house is a bit overflowing with Legos, but it worked, and he's proud of himself." So, that's what worked for them. It took them a very long time, and this is a kiddo who needed things broken down for him.
So then our next family is Tina, Jason, and Bella, and I actually worked with this family. It was a process for them for sure. So she said she stopped stressing out about it and just gave into Bella being in control, and just tried to keep potty time fun for both of them. Because I think when you hit that point where you're just really frustrated and you're just kind of at your wit's end, that's when you really do need to pull back. Go back to making it just fun to just be in the bathroom and keep all that positive. She said, plus we watched a lot of potty time videos. We read Elmo Potty Time, that is a big one, and Once Upon a Potty, and she was fascinated by them. We also stopped and started a zillion times. So, sometimes you just kind of have to follow your child's lead a little bit and realize that when you're getting stressed, they're getting stressed, and then you're just going to backslide. So, just understanding that going back a step sometimes is a good thing. We used all the skills we learned in the class and made sure to take her potty chair with us wherever we go because she had a hard time adjusting to new potties. She likes her Dora seat, so we got a special bag for her potty and her books, and it's at school with her now. She also said that they make sure that when they arrive at their destination, the first thing they do is they go to the potty, and then when they're ready to leave wherever they're at, they again take her to the potty. And she got Dad a lot more involved and had him be a big part of the potty training as well. They took her to the bathroom with them, and they would do little dances for her when they went potty, when she went potty, just keeping it really fun and light. She loved it. And they still do those things to keep the momentum going. And she said the biggest thing for them was to not give up. But it's easy to want to give up, but it wouldn't be fair to her or help her become independent. So we made a pact to keep at it.
Okay, and then advice from our very own Tammy Menigan with her son. So Mason showed readiness at about 3.5, but they opted to wait because she was experiencing a very difficult pregnancy. They did have a potty chair, and when Mason showed interest, they encouraged it, celebrated every attempt and success. Having the chair available in a no-pressure way at the time was really an asset later. And then one of the keys to her success was rewards, rewards, rewards. They bought a poster board and they did a sticker chart, so I guess Mason was able to understand that concept of you get a certain number of stickers and you get a big reward. It sounds like it took them 3 months to be 75% potty trained and about 6 months to be 99%, not including nighttime. Okay. So yeah, basically consistency is really important. Also, I mean, just being as relaxed as you can about it and keeping it fun and calm and happy. You're going to see so much more of a result when you do it. And also, everybody's journey with this is so different. Even like Gail with her 2 kids, typically developing kids, 2 kids, same exact age, had such different approaches to potty training, and it took them a lot different timelines. And you can always be working on potty training, so knowing when to pause, maybe take a step back and kind of solidify some skills before you move on is a good thing to remember. You can always be working on potty training, even when your kid is in diapers. I just want to make sure that we covered some of these. I think we covered the holding for hours in terms of control and what to do. So examine your rewards and give more control in a controlled way for you, right? Like you control what, yeah, exactly. Questions about readiness, what I would say with your child with CP, it might be a good idea to start taking some of that data of when they're wet, when they're dry, and see if you can see any kind of pattern. If there is no pattern yet, it doesn't mean that they're not necessarily ready. You can always start working on that adult guided, implementing a schedule, but it'll just be a lot easier if there is a pattern. Nonverbal, we talked about the importance of visuals and things like this that you can just keep in the bathroom to help kids with the steps, and you can just take the words out of it or reduce the number of words that you're giving. And also the things like the books and the videos can be really helpful because those have visuals in them too. And then not wanting to sit still, just starting with a tiny amount of time on the potty and just expanding that and giving rewards and having that like visual timer that they can see, having a song that you can sing and expand that amount of time on the potty. Are there any other things that any questions before we move on? Yes.
How do you go about determining a pattern? Like, how often do you check to determine that pattern and how often they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Every hour, maybe? Or?
Yeah, you can check every hour.
Yeah.
You said at least 20 to 30 minutes after they drink, so.
Right, and I guess it depends, but that's probably drinking like a bigger quantity of liquid. So if they're just doing a few sips, you might not notice. But like kind of looking at how often you're having to change diapers every day, and are they wet every time that you're changing them? So say that's been like 3 hours and they're finally wet, that might tell you kind of where they're at. But I would certainly every hour check and kind of see where they're at. And that way you'll be able to chart.
That's a great question. Any other questions? Yes.
My brother's going crazy because they think, my mom will do. She's like, oh, are you okay? Like they don't like crazy. And so what's another alternative instead of praising when they go to the restroom?
So the child doesn't like to be praised?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. He doesn't like to be praised at all because he'll say, well, we've tried it before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good job.
it's too much attention for him. Yeah, I mean, I would say just kind of you could be neutral about it, and just, give them the words. So, I see that you went in the potty. All right, let's flush it. But still, I mean, you can give them rewards without praise. It doesn't have to be social rewards. I mean, most kids respond to social rewards, hugs, high fives, things like that. But, he might be the kind of kid who's like, don't praise me too much, but I'll still take that M&M or whatever is the reward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what can you do if, you think there might be, she doesn't want to sit on the potty at all? She'll let me change her diaper, and I can change her in the bathroom and all that. She's not scared of the bathroom, but to actually say, let's sit on the potty, she's like, no, no, no. It's doesn't want to sit on it at all.
Even the little tiny potty.
Yeah.
So,
Potty and a bigger potty.
what if you sat on the toilet and put her on your lap? How would she do with that?
She won't let me.
She won't do that at all.
Maybe the tape on the floor method, because maybe sitting on the potty is not happening yet, but getting closer and closer and closer in proximity to the toilet.
She
So
seems scared of it though. She'll come in there and watch me and practically stick her head in. So, but it's just actually getting her to be herself to don't want to. She doesn't want it.
And if she's fully clothed, she still won't sit on it?
No.
Have you tried that?
Scared of it almost.
are her feet on the floor? Is she able to sit with her feet on the floor?
No, not so. I mean, I have to stick under there and try that.
Yeah, I would try that for sure because, some kids really have a hard time with that gravity. They're so little. And I know your little one is very little. She's so petite. And just being up on the toilet can feel like you're, up on a really tall surface. So, yeah, and also, the little potty chairs might be a lot less intimidating, too. Okay, so is there anything, actually, for this part, what we're thinking is turning to your same partners that you talked to when we first started and sharing something that you, one strategy that you think you might use at home with your own child, and then we can kind of reconvene. So maybe 4 minutes.
One thing I can try is, I will say
Visual, on a way, for her to, if he's indicating that he might be needing to go, or if he's grabbing his diaper, for her to show him the picture of the body, and that might, because I don't know if he would necessarily go seek out the visual, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So kind of having it on her necklace or something, or a
or a ring, or yeah. Knowing him, that might work. So one thing I was thinking about for you too is, sometimes if they're kind of showing you that they might need to go, they're getting a little wiggly, I don't know that kids are necessarily going to go find that visual of the potty to let you. So you have, every adult, that's with, has the visual, on a little ring that you keep on you or put on a lanyard, and then when you start to notice him kind of doing that, you can show him that visual and be like, hey, potty.
more and more verbal, but I feel
Yeah. So still showing him that visual though, even after, so he starts to make that connection more and more. So, let's try to go in the bathroom and then change the diaper in the bathroom. So just to help him start making that connection to the bathroom. Part of it, he may not really know when it's coming. His body just may be it just happened and oh my goodness, I don't like that. But he just might not really recognize what those cues are in his own body yet. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right, right. Which, I mean, that's good that he doesn't like it because that is a way to kind of get that process going. But I would say just, show him that visual still. Oh, you went potty, let's go in the bathroom and change your diaper. And just to see if that will help him start to make that connection a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, that's great.
I'll let him watch that.
Right.
And Coco Melon used it. We literally can't let him watch this night. It's so exciting. It's just
Right. And so part of that too then is kind of looking at how we talked about taking that weekend maybe where you're just going to take him in there every hour, or whatever you think his schedule is. If he's every hour, every whatever, take him in there, just come there, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But at least you're kind of setting that routine for him. Yes, absolutely. Routine's going to be hugely important. So yeah.
All right, guys. Again, I feel like you're just so shy.
I know.
Okay, so before we all leave, I just want to make sure. Is there anybody who did not get a potty schedule who wants one? So we need a boy or girl? Girl? Boy. So 3 boys and a girl. Okay. Oh, you know what?
We need more.
There are actually more of these out. I thought we were out of the ones on the table. They are out on the table, but if you guys run out, come find me and I'll make you a colored copy tonight before you go. And is there anybody who didn't get a copy of the PowerPoint who wants it? I think I made enough. Oh, there's an extra one? Okay, so I think everyone's got that. There are a bunch of other handouts on the table. Feel free to grab any of those handouts. And then one last thing I want to just let you guys know. For families who qualify for Medicaid, there's a program through Byram Healthcare. It's for families who qualify for Medicaid who have children who are over 3 years of age who are still in diapers, and they provide you with free prescription diapers, which is really, really cool. So there's a phone number that if you want to take advantage of that, there's a phone number here for you to call. And you basically, it's all an automated line, so there's prompts. And so you would hit option number 3, which is place a new order. And you will just have to leave a message telling them diaper size, your doctor's name and phone number, and your Oregon Health Plan number. And they will call your doctor and get all that information. That's all you have to do if you want free diapers, which is great. So I'm going to leave this phone number maybe here or at the table.
You put it at the table maybe.
I'll leave this at the table. It's the one that has the stripes on it. I only have 1 copy. So, okay, thank you so much for coming. Thank you.